Hello again, hi, hello day. Okay, well, videos like this are always a little bit surprising to me. I'm a little obtuse when I'm coming across that way, and uh, and I will probably continue to be because there's a big benefit to that as well, which I'll probably get to. I mean, just in my value system, there is. Okay, if I came on so strong, I'm sorry, but that is the way I do it. I think I'm respectful of other people's ideas. I'm not really respectful of the need to get that off of a first impression because first impressions are a funny thing. I'm in the middle of conversations with lots of people, so I'm way past any first impression. So you're going to get more a continuous impression. And one is that you can expect to be engaged. And all I really do is if I characterize you and you think you're mischaracterized, you can clarify it. You're encouraged to. All I can promise is that it's honestly what I saw, and I try to give the reasons why that's how it appeared to me. Um, Mischaracterizing is a part of the conversation if it's not done to manipulate. I'm not trying to mischaracterize you, and I still don't think I have mischaracterized you. But maybe I threw too many things at you because, if you think the philosophy of science was an unfair thing to throw in at you, to me it's so pertinent. It's one of the best statements I felt I've made to you and to others in um, this particular series of comments in this discussion. So I don't really get where that specific thing is coming from, except for that you did say that what Feynman says is about the problems of uncertainty. And I don't hear him saying it's a problem. I hear him saying in many of the clips I showed and I've seen the full versions of those things that's excerpted from, and he embraces being uncertain. It's fine and great that we're just trying to get more and less likely. He does that time and time again. So, and as far as I remember, there were multiple quotes to that kind of effect, just in my quoting of him. Um, so so I don't really get throwing it in your face kind of thing. I mean, it's a part of it. Now you think I'm mischaracterizing you, but um, I mean, I don't know. I guess is that just to you? I mean, that's a part of the general thing I'm getting from everybody about um, how we have to prove things. So I'm not. You can speak for yourself on how you interpret Feynman, and I'm putting in quotes that help my point, I think, and go and explain why. And when they help my point, really, it's just more that they explain why I believe in my point, and they should help it. In that's if it wasn't helped by it, why should that be a reason? Um, on the circular thing, no, because quantum mechanics, relativity, Newtonian physics. These are all names of schools. They have a bunch of interlocking technical definitions. You use those together. If you don't have technical definitions, then what do the formulas and the statements? If you don't have a technical understanding of force, so the idea of work in physics is different than just regular natural language work, right? It's force time distance, I think, right? So you have to have that. What if it's circular or not depends on this other thing you mentioned about the premise relationship between the premises and the conclusion. If the conclusion is simply taken explicitly or more secretly as a conclusion, and that's not done in the quantum mechanical definition of cause and effect, which we would have to invent. I mean, there's something implied in the causes that you initiate your experiment with in quantum mechanics. Lots of quantum mechanical experiments, as you know. And uh, in there are patterns, and when you put words to describe that pattern of the causal patterns, then that's going to be a quantum mechanical statement of cause and effect. And it's not circular because it's not based on itself. It's just that that's the one that fits together with all the other quantum mechanical definitions also drawn from the evidence in quantum mechanical experiments. So even though people had ideas when they set the experiments up, you can just start from the experiment and right and say, is this okay that I'm talking philosophy of science? I think that's what we've been talking about the whole time. But you just take the experiment and it's a bunch of information. And you look for the patterns in there, causal other. You can categorize the patterns in various ways, depending on your criteria, depending on what epistemology you're applying. And you get all these definitions, and they fit together, you know. And then you try to, you come up, but it doesn't handle some area of physics, you come up with some other system. Physics doesn't really handle biology, you just start biology. Eventually, maybe you can unify them. The hope is to unify them. But it's not circular just because it's from quantum mechanics. So quantum mechanics can't use quantum mechanical ideas of force, or, it has its own definitions of all of these things. So, um, the last thing you said is you work hard, and this I'll just say, well, see, my impression of you has been positive. I didn't think I was coming on too hard, or you were. I, I don't often praise and say because I don't want you to take it easier on me, or not bring up. If you think something relates, I don't want you to think, oh, that's throwing too much on him. I don't appreciate that kind of kindness. Um, I appreciate that you work hard, and I think this was, the discussion with you is very, very enjoyable because so few people actually know what those facts of the experiments are. And when you disagree with me on the interpretation, even if I say, well, it's obvious the interpretation is this, you're overlooking. It's really a pleasure to see that you know the experimental results and you are interpreting them differently. And even if it's an outright misinterpretation, I appreciate it. And I wouldn't say it's a, out and out misinterpretation because your basic view is that, well, you like a hidden no, I haven't told anybody else it's a matter of opinion because they're still wrong on so many facts. Really, you in conference report is like, well, I still get the impression it's uh, Newtonian and deterministic. Okay, you can do that. You've accepted a weak sort of, well, hey, what do you think? I think this kind of argument, but that's good, and I'm glad people hold that. Sometimes those turn out to be right. Somebody has to hold the flame of being honest, that's their impression. And in your case, you have a more hardcore, acceptable one in that you've said, well, it looks like we can accept the kinds of interpretation you're giving, Pyrrho, or this hidden variable, some hidden variable theory, and that feels better to me. And you're using Occam's razor. You're choosing the one that seems more simple to understand, simple to get the feel for. And so am I. And we go different ways. And the thing about physics is often it'll turn out, well, one of us will be able to show the other that it's simple. That's the beauty of coming up with math, is that we'll show the math. We're like, look, the math's simple. And the other person will go, okay, yours is simpler. And somebody will still carry the flame for that other one because they love something about it. I think that I've argued against the hidden variable theory with you because I think there's already reason to know it's not simple. But you're fully aware of that. Locality is violated, and that's okay. I like to get determinism back. My need for the fact that a cause should have its natural effect and sort of the water should flow downhill. There's some sort of, proper consequence. I get that back in the multiverse, and we still have room for choice, and there's still room for the probabilism in the terms of all the paths exist in some sense. We just travel the one thread through them, and the rest collapse away, or they exist for something else, or whatever it is. That's enough determinism for me that their potential is real, that they have real potential energy or whatever, rather than just some virtual idea. So that's that. I've used that most of my time. Last thing is just when you say you work hard, that is this kind of thing I'm talking about that requires a definition of will. I find ironic that so many people with good intellectual wills claiming there is no such thing, but that's not meant as a cheap shot. Okay, it's an observation, and I think you made great points and held up